Hey y'all, welcome back to my channel. This is Jesus Meets JD. So if you're new here, my name is Hilda and I make faith-based content as well as talk about my law school experience on this channel. So if you like what you see here, please like, comment, and subscribe, and I hope to see y'all in future videos. So this week's video is going to be about my personal relationship with God, coming back to Him, I guess my testimony, and how my relationship with God is like developing and transforming, and I guess what this process is like right now for me. So to start, my family has always been very active in church. My parents have always been active. Me and my sisters have always been active, or as active as kids are in church. When I was like in middle school or high school, my parents started a church, so I've been a pastor's daughter for half of my life. And while I knew God, I didn't have the kind of relationship with Him that if I was like scared, if I was in trouble, if I was nervous or something, that He was the first person I would run to. So like there was a lot of distance between us, and while I wasn't doing anything bad per se, or I guess how the world sees bad, like you know how people will tier sin, like there's murder, stealing, like you know we tier sin in this world, but to God all sin is the same. So while I wasn't doing anything like super bad, I knew that I wasn't walking with God, that there are things I was doing that I wasn't supposed to. And you know, in the time where I was, in the space where I was, like that was okay. Everybody was doing it. Nobody saw a problem with like, you know, the way we were living. And I think when you don't have like a relationship with God, it's easy to be carried away by what seems to be like societal expectations for you, and not really setting expectations for yourself based on the Bible or based on what you know God is calling you to do or what He's calling you to be. So yeah, flash forward to college. I wasn't relying on God in the slightest. We didn't talk very often, and so much of my life was based on what I could do for myself. So how hard Hilda could work, how late Hilda could stay up to study for a test, how many side jobs Hilda could pick up to pay for X, Y, and Z. And so I would go through these cycles of like straining myself and stressing myself, only like to break down, to have like these like crying fits, these like mental breakdowns, because I was striving. And that was what people tell you to do. They tell you to grind to get money and status and power, things that don't matter. Like in reality, that like we're not on earth to do any of those things. We're on earth to serve God, to be fishers of men, to call people to God. And so I was doing all of this stuff and I was not being fulfilled in it whatsoever. And I would go through these cycles and break down because I was working so hard, and I would get what I wanted or what I thought I wanted, but yet it was not fulfilling. And so when I graduated, I got a job like on the 2020 campaign, and it was supposed to be a really great experience, and it should have been, because I had just graduated, got a job right out of college, was doing political work, which is what I wanted to do like for so long. And yeah, I had a really big sense that something was missing, that I was doing something and living my life, but like, you know, it wasn't all there. I wasn't like really getting the most out of life, if that makes sense. There was just a gap like in my life, and I really felt that it was God, that God was calling me back to Him, that He was calling me to look to Him for fulfillment. So it was in that moment that I decided to rededicate my life to God and to really follow Him, not in the sense of what people think it means to be a Christian, like to go to church on Sundays and to do whatever you want afterwards, but to really walk the talk. Walk the walk and talk the talk, and really follow Him and submit my life to Him, submit my wants and my desires and my insecurities and my problems. I wanted to submit everything to Him. And it was in the time of being pulled back to God reconnecting with him that I realized that I had so many misconceptions about him, that I thought I knew him. I thought I understood what grace meant. I thought I understood how much he loved me, but I didn't. I had heard all that stuff, but I had never taken the time to really like embody it and make it a part of my life and truly understand like the gravity of who God is and the gravity of the sacrifice Jesus made on the cross. Like, I had heard that stuff growing up in Sunday school, but it never really felt personal. It never really felt like it never felt like a big deal to me, you know. Like, I didn't understand like the gravity. And I think it's important that we assess where we are in a relationship with God, because there are so many tenets of our faith that we think we know and we think we understand, but in practice we find it really hard to walk it out. So yeah, coming back to God, it was awkward because I realized I had so many misconceptions, but it was also a really beautiful thing because I was really learning about him all over again in a whole new way that I had never really been shown him before. And it was by, you know, reading my Bible and being like in the word that I was able to tear away these misconceptions and build my knowledge of him like the right way, without all this other stuff, but like with truly trying to foster a real relationship with him. So yeah, something that was really hard for me to grasp was the concept of grace. And I spent a long time trying to forgive myself for things I had done in the past. I beat myself up very often, not realizing that I couldn't work for God's love. There was nothing that I could ever do to earn it, because that's what grace was. A passage that really helped me during this time was Ephesians 2:8-9. For it is by grace you have been saved through faith, and this is not from yourselves. It is a gift of God, not by works, so that no one can boast. So this was a beautiful concept to me. The fact that like all my striving wasn't going to earn God's love, that he loved me, all faults and all. He loved me when I was running away from him, and he loved me now that I was back, and nothing I was ever gonna do was gonna make me worthy of grace, was gonna like, not worthy, but was gonna make me earn it, because it was something that like, you know, was freely given to me. And I think so much of like my relationship with the church, or what I thought, was that I had to earn God's love. And so unlearning that did like such a big thing in changing my relationship with him, and how it was going back, like, you know, crawling back to Jesus. And it really, really helped me. Mistakes, I wouldn't call it mistakes, but things I know now that I wish I knew before that happened was I spent a lot of time like listening to like podcasts and like sermons and like X, Y, and Z. And none of that stuff is bad, but that was less time for me to spend like actually reading the Bible, actually praying, because while like podcasts and sermons and hearing about God from other people are great, they don't take the place of you fostering an actual relationship with God. So you reading your Bible by yourself, you talking with God by yourself, all that stuff is paramount and super important in your relationship with God. And I wish that I had known that earlier, and I had taken advantage of that earlier, and spent more time you know, reading my Bible personally, talking to God personally earlier, instead of like relying on so many other people and so many other things, which did help me. But I had to realize that God can speak to all of us, and I didn't need to like rely on these like so-called like, you know, like they weren't any better than me, if that made sense. And if I wanted God to speak to me, if I wanted God to foster a relationship with God, that I had to do the work myself and not rely on other people to do that for me. Something I think I did well was I asked a lot of questions. I was constantly asking questions, like whenever I was confused. So even about the questions I had before and the uncertainty I had before, I was constantly like asking people, like, you know, people who I felt were doing really well in walking with God. So they helped me a lot, and I looked to be discipled. So I had like a mentor, still have her, who like I would ask like all the questions I had, questions that were even like kind of dumb, but like I needed to know. And like if I was reading the Bible, I had questions about what I was reading, I would ask her because I don't know everything. And there are people, of course, who have been like walking with God longer who would have more information. So, you know, definitely always feel like you can like talk to people and like get that one-on-one like discourse, that one-on-one like relationship with them to help like further the relationship with God. So they may have information for you about mistakes they made that you don't have to make because you can talk to them. So that's something that I really encourage everyone to do. Get a mentor, get discipled by somebody, because I think that, you know, makes like this walk kind of smoother because you're not doing it by yourself. You're in community with others who are trying to do the same thing as you. But yeah, that's the video. I hope it was real and honest and informative. If you liked it, please comment, like, and subscribe. Please let me know. I guess like if you've been through something similar, please feel free to share in the comments, and I will see y'all next week. Bye.